traditional banking. So yes, it is going to hurt traditional banking, especially the ones that are slower to adapt to it. So there will be, again, going back to custody, there are services that the bank could still provide. They could provide custody of your bit. They don't currently, but in the future, maybe they could provide custody. You have that optionality. I won't use it. I want to have complete control of my Bitcoin. But many people will, and they'll make it. They'll have some hybrid system where it's like they have a little bit less control. You have a little bit more. I don't know exactly how it will come to fruition, but they'll create services and products for you to use their infrastructure, their bank, for you to use Bitcoin. Some will embrace that faster than others, and those will be the ones that will probably grow, and the ones that are slow to embrace it will probably die off. And then
that's very concerning, though, because essentially, if you have, and this is just me talking as a novice, if you have AI, do you really need a bank? Because I don't know about you, but I don't trust the bank to hold my digital currency. I wouldn't trust the bank to have custody over my Bitcoin, knowing that essentially, if we even had a 50% adoption where people would just completely do Bitcoin and not do a dollar or any kind of currency, the banking industry, we know with President Obama, he bailed out the banks, right? So that's the infrastructure of the U.S. It would essentially bankrupt, destroy the U.S. I wouldn't trust the U.S., the banking system, to even anywhere near that process.
No, and to go back to the start of the conversation with what first caught my attention with Bitcoin was in Cyprus, the government went into your bank account and took money out. And then there's other examples, right? That's not an outlier. That the Canadian trucker protest, what was that, 2022, I guess? People who donated to that, they had their bank accounts frozen, right? I know, me personally, I was living in Ecuador, and it's a whole long story, but there was a revolution. I got caught up in it. I got deported, and they seized all my assets, right? I had a bank account there, and they took all the money from my bank account. Like these are edge cases, but they're edge cases that happen everywhere and will happen with greater frequency. As that system becomes more unstable, it will become more aggressive towards its users. And Bitcoin is the lifeboat. Bitcoin is the escape hatch. And actually having a lifeboat and an escape hatch will accelerate it. So things are going to start to accelerate now.
Oh, wow. This is so what company do you think has done a great job with Bitcoin, whether in any way you would recommend or you could see? Like Fortune 500, like an enterprise company.
Okay, so the example that I was thinking of was more for individual rather than a company. But let me give that, and then I'll try to think of a company. So I have a friend. He's Indian, and he is a web developer. So he mostly develops websites for websites outside of India, right? And it is problematic for him to accept payment. It's at best there's parties in between his employer and him that are taking a cut, right? There's regulations that make it difficult, maybe impossible, depending on the country. And at best, somebody is taking a slice of that, right? Somebody is taking a slice of it, and their policies might change at any time, and maybe the slice will be bigger, or maybe they just won't let you do that anymore. He started to accept Bitcoin, and it made his business, and he works with a team. It made his business so much easier and more profitable. More profitable because people aren't taking a cut, but also because it opened up new avenues, right? There was this friction before where there was some percent of his energy of the administration that went to just figuring out the logistics of payments.
I know
and
that.
now it's just about the work, right? And I think that is it's really interesting that it's much easier to think of an example of Bitcoin benefiting the individual than it is to think of Bitcoin benefiting a large corporation. And I think that's probably why I like Bitcoin so much, right? Because it inverts the traditional power structure.
For sure. Oh my goodness, this has been amazing. And so, if I wanted to start Bitcoin, the first thing I'm going to do is sign up for your class, and we'll drop in the description how people can contact you and get engaged. And any parting words, anything you would like to share before we finish up, John? I'm feeling more empowered, so I won't part ways when I have those conversations at networking events. I can speak a little bit more intelligently now based on what I know.
It's amazing. Yes. Yeah, just a parting thought. We create our own future, right? We do not have to be subservient to others, to third parties, to governments. We could dictate what our future looks like, and Bitcoin is one of the tools that lets us do that. So if we want a better world, we shouldn't rely on anyone else to do it. We should create it ourselves.